Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Wanted to do a news brief today. Sometimes I do them on Mondays because sometimes there's just a lot of stuff coming in the news over the weekend, and that's the case today. I'm just skimming the surface. So I just want to be clear that I most certainly am not going to cover everything going on in the news over the last couple of days, but there's a lot, and everything from crazy stuff to economic stuff that doesn't look good at all, to war stuff and just international geopolitical, it's stuff that's moving and changing. And we need to kind of keep an eye on these kind of things, and it's not so that we can be on edge and in fear for our lives because things are getting worse. We need to kind of keep an eye on it so that we can have a good idea of how things are transpiring and how close we are getting to the New World Order. One of the bigger news things that happened today is a body was found at former President Barack Obama's home in Martha's Vineyard in the pond. These guys have big estates, and that's what this is, and there was a body found in the pond. Well, that just recently came out that it was his personal chef. The body of his personal chef was found. They said that he drowned. I'm sure they're going to kind of twist this and say it was some kind of accidental drowning. I don't know that for certain, but the way they're talking about it already kind of, they're trying to allude to that, although there is an investigation. Because it's funny how the Obamas and the Clintons, it's actually dangerous to be around them, but we should also at least remember that this person most likely has a family, and it's just an unfortunate death at the very least. Reporters were asking Biden's spokesperson, the Karine Jean-Pierre, whatever her name is, because they were asking her about all these regulations being put on gas stoves and air conditioners and refrigerators and washing machines, dishwashers, and now they're putting regulations on water heaters. She actually had no response to that question, which I know is very shocking because she's always so honest and forthcoming in her responses. But she said, hey, don't worry about it, because these policies really aren't going to be taking effect until 2029, which is so far off in the future and so close to the 2030s so that we can meet our quota to be part of the New World Order agenda. U.S. banks would lose $541 billion, the Fed says, in a doomsday scenario. So the Fed is working out doomsday scenarios just in case. Doesn't mean that they're planning on causing one happening, okay? So take your tinfoil hats off and stop assuming that. But just in case a doomsday economic banking collapse scenario happened, there'd be at least $541 billion losses in banks, which I'm sure that would be an opportunity for the big five banks to just gobble all the rest of them up. They've been telling us that inflation's going down. It's working. Just trust the government. Trust the Fed, trust the government. No, they're not one and the same. Fed's private. It's tricky because it's called the Fed, but it's not part of the Fed. But trust them because they got this under control. Inflation, they say, is going down, except prices of groceries rose another 4.7% just in June. 4.7% over already inflated prices over the last 2 years. So that's not good. Russia says that their monthly output of ammunition is exceeding the annual production of ammunition for the entire year of 2022. So in 1 month, they produced the same amount of ammunition that they did, or more than they did all of last year. Who knows if this is true or not, but it's interesting because apparently the United States is having problems keeping up on any kind of ammunition production. The whole Black Sea grain deal, been telling you, not good because it's done. They're trying to resurrect it, but as long as there's hostilities over there, I would guess that Russia is not going to agree to it. Right now there are over 50 cargo ships in the Danube River between Ukraine and Romania waiting to go to the Odessa port so that they can load up with grain and ship them all over the place. But they can't, because Russia keeps striking the area, and they're waiting for some kind of assurance before they put those ships out in the water and risk being blown up. I saw the other day, in just one strike, Russia destroyed about 60,000 tons of wheat. At least that's what Ukrainian officials are saying. So yeah, it's gonna cause food prices to go up, even if that wheat doesn't directly affect here in the United States. I keep hearing that a lot. Well, the United States doesn't import wheat from Ukraine. No, but it's going to cause less wheat on the market, so the places that do get it aren't getting it from Ukraine. Where else are they going to buy it? Because the top three is Ukraine, Russia, and the United States. If they can't buy it from Russia because of sanctions, then the only other option is the United States, and our wheat production this year has not been very good. So that's going to maybe not cause you to starve to death, but it'll probably be less supply here than what you're normally used to, and probably much higher prices. I know math's hard, but that's just how it works. A Polish army convoy consisting of roughly 200 pieces of equipment is headed towards the Belarusian border. There's been some just uptick of talk and saber rattling there between Poland and Belarus, with the expectation or the possibility of some type of conflict erupting there, and so the Polish army is sending some troops over there. China says that, well, not China didn't say it, but China apparently has been secretly sending enough military gear to Russia to equip an army. And they're doing it in ways that it doesn't look like military gear. They're just sending camping stuff, right? It's just outdoor equipment. That's all it is. It's just, you know, because everybody that's out camping wants their nods, their night vision, that kind of stuff. That's normal. You know, everyone that's going camping needs a bump helmet. You know, they all need magazines for their you know, rifles when they're hunting. So China's been sending a lot of stuff over. The United States has already warned China, don't be doing that, because it's going to cause sanctions to be placed upon you, very possibly. And I'm sure China is really shaking in their boots, because Henry Kissinger, 100-year-old Henry Kissinger, paid China a visit. As seen here, met with Xi Jinping. A lot of people are speculating that this unusual visit at his age probably indicates that a war may be near. Russia and China have also decided to go full, you know, scorched earth when it comes to the woke agenda, especially in relation to trans type of things. You know, not the transmission in your vehicle that's constantly giving you fits, but other trans things. Russia's Putin signs a law in the last couple of days that bans gender reassignment surgeries and prohibits adoptions of children by transgender people. So you see the East and the West taking two very different roads in this. The East is saying, no, I'm not saying they're the good guys, but they're saying we want to hold to traditional values, and the West is saying, no, we want to create a new path of no values. China has also banned the depictions of gay and transgender individuals from TV. So they're no longer allowed to depict any type of gay or transgender people. I mean, they can still act, they just can't portray themselves as gay. China has also banned gay couples from adopting children. So that's interesting. And another one, this is a big deal. Putin signs into law introducing the digital ruble. So Russia is now fully on board and moving ahead, actually a little bit ahead of us when it comes to the central bank digital currencies, which I know there are some. In fact, this week there was a senator, a congressman here in the United States that came out trying to pass a bill that would make CBDCs criminal, that it would make it not only illegal to do here in the United States, but make it criminal. You know, my props to the guy, but I don't think there's any chance of that ever happening. I know that there are some people saying, well, there's a little bit of pushback and it may not happen. And the Fed's like, well, you know, it'd be nice if we had some congressional approval. And then there's others saying, well, the Fed can't really do it anyways constitutionally without congressional approval. What do you think the Fed's been doing all along without congressional approval? You know, they have been the central bank of the United States, creating money out of thin air, and They don't get congressional approval every time they do it. The only congressional approval is when the United States borrows money from the Fed, but they can create whatever they want. They're a completely independent institute that doesn't even answer to the United States. So I don't believe any of that. As you see more and more nations go to a central bank digital currency, the United States almost has to. Doesn't mean I'm for it. I'm strictly against it. But from strictly a business economic perspective, if the United States doesn't, it puts us at a massive disadvantage, I would think, unless we want to switch over to a gold-backed currency. And we all know that's never going to happen. It puts us at a disadvantage when it comes to doing business around the globe if a vast majority of nations, maybe even all of them, switch over. So it's just a matter of time. Is it going to be in a couple of weeks, 6 months, a year or two? I would say at least in the a couple of year range or less, probably a lot less, because it's one of those inevitable things at this point of the United States switching to a central bank digital currency. And last but certainly not least, speaking of all things digital, our most favorite man on the planet, the one that everyone just loves to praise as such a great guy, Bill Gates, yeah, that's the man, Bill Gates, has recently declared that the age of artificial intelligence has begun. This is the guy that told you all about how you should take care of yourself health-wise. This is the guy that goes over to Africa and apparently sterilizes, African communities and stuff because of things like this. This is the guy that openly talks about the need for depopulation of the planet. And now he is openly saying that the age of artificial intelligence has begun. And we all know where that's going to lead. Not good is where it's going to lead. Is it the beast system? Very possibly. I won't go into it because it'll make for a long video, and I'm not prepared for this. But if you look at the non-Bible belief side of things, not that I agree with these things, but a lot of these people, they follow a much more dark, demonic kind of thing. If you follow that, those teachings, a lot of people in those areas believe that the end of the age, which is spoken about in the Bible when Yeshua talks about that, meant that it was the end of Pisces, which ended just a few years ago, and that the age of Aquarius, which also could represent Satan himself, is underway. And so it's interesting that Bill Gates chose to use that the age of artificial intelligence has begun. I don't know, or I'm not insinuating there is a connection there, but maybe there is. Folks, you need to be buckling up. I've been telling you, I know the naysayers are always out there, all the trolls trying to discourage people from getting ready because, it's just normal as can be. Nothing bad has happened over the last 3 years, folks. You keep hearing all these crazy lunatics on YouTube telling you to get ready because it's going to get bad and there's going to be food shortages and price increases and inflation and all. It hasn't happened yet. Well, it has. You're paying way more for your food. Have you gone and bought groceries lately? How much does it cost you to buy a whole basket full of groceries as compared to 5 years ago? Considerably more. Are you able to just get any product that you want for anything, anytime you want? No, not usually. There's usually a few things that you kind of have to wait. They're out of stock. Maybe you can't get them anymore. Are we seeing wars? Absolutely. Have we seen people's rights, individual rights, trampled and destroyed over and over again in the last few years? Absolutely. It is getting worse. At some point, it's going to get really, really bad. And you need to be getting ready for it, folks. You need to be stocking up, prepping up, training up, praying up. Because the ends of times, I think, are probably on us. Whether it's those biblical ones or it's just the end of this civilization, the end of this society, this government, I think are probably up on us. And we're about to see something new and probably much worse than what we've had before. Get your houses in order, folks. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.